guys, it's Bella and welcome back to another reading wrap-up. So it is time for the March reading wrap-up. This was honestly a really good reading month. Like, I had some amazing books this month, like probably some of my favorite books of this year, and I'm so excited to talk about them. So the first book that I read this month I talked about briefly in last month's reading wrap-up, and that is Crescent City 2, or House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. Now, those of you who have been watching this channel and have watched my Crescent City video, which I'll link in the description, know that I absolutely love the Crescent City series. I love Bryce, I love the whole gang, I just love them. And while I didn't quite enjoy this one as much as the first one, I still had a blast with this, with all the plot twists and everything that Sarah J. Maas put us through in this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and if you're a Sarah J. Maas fan, I would definitely recommend reading the Crescent City books because, in my opinion, they're like some of her best writing and best characters, and Bryce just owns my whole heart. Like, I love her. If you guys aren't familiar with Sarah J. Maas, she basically writes YA and new adult fantasy. The Crescent City books will fall under her new adult books. It's her most recent series, and it basically is like an urban fantasy with some classic like fantasy elements. Like, we have the fae and the angels and like cool weapons and all of that kind of stuff. And the first one starts out as almost like a murder mystery kind of, but with a lot of romance and just a lot of mysteries to uncover. So I would definitely recommend these. The next book of this month I'm so excited to talk about. Like, this is probably my favorite book of this month, and considering that Crescent City 2 is in this month, that is saying a lot. Like, this beat Crescent City 2, and that's saying a lot. That is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Words cannot describe how much I love this book. Like, oh my god, I love this book so much. The characters, the plot, everything. I love it. So The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is, honestly, I prefer to go into it blind. So just like skip ahead like 30 seconds if you want to go into it blind, but I'm just gonna give a brief synopsis. So it's basically about this girl who is living in 1714, and she obviously doesn't have very many rights as a woman, and she really doesn't want to get married. She doesn't want to be constrained. She doesn't want the life that her village and her parents have set out for her. So she ends up praying to these gods, and a god answers, but not the right one, because the deal that she makes with this god ends up going very wrong for her, and she ends up having to live a very long life and try and navigate her way around this new world and this new deal that she's made. And she meets some new people, and it's just a whole time. Like, I'm not gonna tell you guys exactly what the deal was, because again, I think it's best to go into it blind like that. I went into it completely blind. Like, I only knew the names of the characters and that's it, and it was great. It was a great experience. It was fantastic. I am gonna have a whole review for that up on my Instagram, which is linked in the description, and it'll be on Goodreads too, so definitely check that out if you want a more like spoilerly, like in-depth review. The last physical book that I read this month is also a book that I hold very near and dear to my heart. I read it last year and I love this book. I also started reading it last month, and I briefly touched in it in my last reading wrap-up video, and that is Project Hail Mary. I love this book. Project Hail Mary is just so good. Like, I don't read much sci-fi, but this I will eat up. Project Hail Mary came out, I believe, last year. I think it was like mid-2021, and I read it, actually it might have been earlier than that. I don't know, I don't really remember, but I read it last year and I absolutely loved it. Gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I definitely recommend for fans of The Martian or for sci-fi fans. Project Hail Mary is basically about a guy who wakes up on this spaceship and he has no memory. He doesn't know why he's there, where he is, what's going on, and he basically figures out that he's on a mission to save the world. So it is amazing. It's, in my opinion, my favorite of Andy Weir's books. Like, I really, really love it, and I would definitely give it a try. Alright, now on to the audiobooks that I read this month. I read the first 3 books in the Red Queen series. I believe there's like 2 more books left. I'm honestly not sure of the order because it's kind of confusing. Like, I don't understand why it's so hard when you look up what order to read books in, like why it's so hard to get a straight answer. I don't understand. But I read Red Queen, which I gave 4.5 or 4. I think I gave it 4 or 4.5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was good. Like, I really did enjoy it. I think it was 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really did enjoy it. There were certain parts that kind of dragged for me, and I don't know, I just wasn't fully hooked the whole time, but the ending was, wow, it was a lot. And I really did enjoy the characters and everything. I have a review for that up on my Instagram and Goodreads as well. And I read the second one, The Glass Sword, which I loved even more. I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was really, really good. So many twists and turns, so many new characters that I really did enjoy. I just thought it was really, really good. And the third one, King's Cage, was, oh, it was so good. Also 5 stars. Like, I'm not gonna give spoilers, but for those of you who know, like, where Mare, the main character, ends up in the third book and who she interacts with, like, let me just tell you, I love those interactions. Like, I will eat that up because they're just, like, so interesting, and I feel so bad for Mare, but at the same time, they're, like, so interesting. But anyway, for those of you who don't know, the Red Queen series is, like, I don't know if you classify it as, like, dystopian or fantasy. It's kind of a mix, but it's a YA book series about this world where it's divided into different bloods. So there's the silvers and there's the reds. The silvers have all these different powers, like there's the strong arms who are strong. There's the whispers, which can, like, whisper into your mind and, like, manipulate your thoughts and, like, dig through your brain. And there's, like, different ones who can manipulate metal. There's, like, the nymphs who can manipulate water. There's all of these different ones. And then the reds are, they don't have any powers. They're like normal humans, and they're very oppressed because the silvers have taken over, and they, like, all the reds are poor. Like, the reds are conscripted at 18 to fight in this war if they don't have a job, and it's kind of just like that very traditional, like, dystopian setup where you have the oppressors and the oppressed, but it also has this nice, like, fantasy twist where there's this amazing world building with the silvers and all of these, like, creative ideas, and I would just definitely recommend it. I did really love the main character, Mare, and all the other side characters were also pretty well developed too. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that. So those were all the books that I read this month. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know down in the comments if you've read these books, what did you think of them, and what were the books that you read this month. If you like this kind of content, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications. Bye!